the one who has created us, give us life, or has given us life. But He expects something. He has given life to manage, but through a delegation of authority. And we remain accountable to where we get that life from. The one who created us expect something in return. Let's go back to the beginning of time. Let's talk about the creation as we learn about it. I understand that the Creator who created the world, He also created men, human beings. I understand that when He created men, both male and female, He said, let us create men in our own image, according to our likeness. Let us have him have dominion. Let this man have dominion. Let him have authority over the earth and over every creeping thing that is on this earth. Let us give him authority to manage what we have created on our behalf. It was through a delegated authority. After He has created men, male and female, and He said, be fruitful, multiply, fill and subdue the earth. It is the first instruction that was given to men, in as far as I can remember. The first mandate, the first instruction, have dominion. But some people have misunderstood this part. They think that when He said, be fruitful, multiply, fill, and subdue the earth, it was a second instruction. No. The first instruction, that is the first instruction. But the dominion is a product of a careful execution of that instruction. Be fruitful, multiply, fill and subdue the earth. When you have done that process correctly, you will have dominion. You will dominate, you will have the authority. But it's a delegated authority. In other words, someone trusted men so much that manage this on my behalf. But when someone trusts you with this responsibility, there is a certain degree of accountability. You have to account. You are given this responsibility, but you must account. It works like that in life. So, what does it say about me? About my life? You see, for me about my life is that it begins with my Creator, the one who created me and my life, the one who has delegated this life to manage. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I speak to you, allow me to ask permission from my boss. Allow me to ask permission to the one who created me, so that I can speak to you freely, because I'm accountable to that, to a particular authority. And the one that I want to ask permission from is my Creator, is my God. So I want to speak to my Father. Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Let your will be done on this earth, in this place, tonight, as it is done in heaven. Let the Holy Spirit come and be with us, so that this evening can be worthwhile and meaningful and impactful to you tonight. There is something that I would wish and I desire for you to have tonight. And I hope that my boss will release something to you. And I will talk about it tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Amen. Now I can speak to you freely. Because I have now received the permission to talk to you. 100 years ago, in this country, on this day, a human being was born. This human being was given an assignment. At a particular time in his life, he was given an assignment. We are honored as this foundation and all of us present here that we could celebrate together in his honor tonight. This man, I want to talk more about him. In 1964, during the Rivonia treason trial, when he was facing a real possibility of receiving a death penalty, together with his comrades, during that trial, when he was facing allegations, serious allegations of treason, he stood firm. He was unmoved. He was unbroken, unshaken. He stood firm, facing death, possibility of death. And he said, he turned the court into a theater of ideas. He turned it into a platform that he would use to argue a case on behalf of the oppressed masses of our people. Towards the end of his speech, he said, I quote, during my lifetime, I've dedicated my life to this struggle of the African people. I fought against white domination and I fought against black domination. I've cherished an ideal of a democratic and a free society in which all persons shall live in harmony and enjoy equal opportunities. This is an ideal for which I hope to live for and see it realized. If needs be, my Lord, this is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. I know that it is said that the greatest love a person can show to another human being or to his people is to be prepared to die for him or to die for those people. Now, Nelson Mandela was prepared to die for his people. Nelson Mandela was prepared to live and see an ideal realized that he believed in so much. We now know that he spent about 27 years in prison. We know that also that when he was released from prison, he decided to forgive his jailers. Because he said, in his own words, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping that your enemy will die. He also said that the reason I will forgive those who jailed me is because if I don't do so, I will remain imprisoned even when I'm outside of prison. So he decided to forgive. In 1990, when Nelson Mandela was released from prison, at that time, I was a student at the University of Fort Hare. We were in a hall where the graduation was going to take place. There was a procession where the academics, the lecturers will follow the chancellor towards the stage. Towards the end of that queue, when we were inside the hall, there was a man towards the end, a very tall man. As he was walking inside the hall, he waved his hand, greeted people. I was inside the hall. I did not know what was happening, but I saw people jumping up and down with jubilation, excitement. The whole place erupted. When I looked towards the end, I saw a tall man. But there was something that was very, very unique about the aura, the environment. There was something like there was a spirit, power around him. It was the first time I saw power around in a human being. I saw someone who was glorified, who had something that was special. It was in 1990. Nelson Mandela was released in 1990. From that moment, obviously, we then started to see Nelson Mandela. But what I saw was that there is a human being who has got something special. Nelson Mandela was justified and was given glory. That is why today we are celebrating him, because he responded to his calling according to the purpose of his Creator. And his Creator responded in return by giving justification and glorification. Was given a special kind of power. You see, politicians understand power. They understand that we need to be mobilized through the election, and then we go to vote and we vote them into power. They understand power. But business people, for some reason, they don't seem to understand their power. Even in economic matters or in business, we need power. Politicians understand power, but business people, they don't seem to understand power. We need power. I am here to tell you about power. Tonight, the main reason we're here, I'm going to talk about power. Business people need power in order for them to succeed in business. So let me tell you about the program we're launching tonight. This program is called Wealth Activation. Wealth activation is a process through which we activate power so that you can get wealth. Wealth activation is a process through which we activate power so that you can get wealth. This particular perspective is established on very sound business principles. We need to have power in order to get wealth. And this power, we get it from the one who created us. Because my understanding is that wealth has already been created. I don't have to create wealth, I have to get it. Okay, let me put it this way. Land, the whole land. Land has already been created. There's nothing we can do about land now. It's been done, created, finished. Diamonds, created. Gold is created. Water, created. Imagine one day you get blessed to be the one that owns water. And the access to this water is only through you. Imagine you now own gold. And no one else owns gold. But everyone wants it. So gold, water, the land, resources already been created. It's wealth. The biggest challenge for us is to how do you get that wealth? How do you access it? You need a certain power to access it. And that's why I want to talk about power. Because there is a revelation about power. Now, I want to share with you something interesting. And I'm going to go to where I get this information from. I visited a very interesting book. I visited a section of this book called Deuteronomy 8, verse 18. It was very interesting, by the way, when I look at the number. I said, but what is so interesting? But why is it that this number is 8? Verse 8, what is it? Is it 8 verse 18? But today is the 18th, 07, 2018. This is Deuteronomy 8, verse 18. And this is the one where we get this information from. I don't know whether it's coincidental or it was meant that I should share this information to you tonight. Whatever it is, because I'm not in charge of my days. But I want to share with you what it says. It says, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth, so that He may establish His covenant that He saw with your fathers as it is this day. Unquote. Oh, okay, so it says that we shall remember, in other words, we shall not forget, we shall remember that it is who gives us power. Okay, so there is power that we must get, so that we can get wealth. So, not to create wealth, but to get wealth. So that the covenant that he saw with our fathers can be established. So I found it interesting. So there is a reason why we must get this power. And we must get this power to get wealth. But there is a reason why we must get this wealth. So that a covenant, a promise that was made by our Creator can be fulfilled. So it is too important that we have this wealth. Because without this wealth, that promise may not be fulfilled. I like that. I said to myself, you know what? I want to stay here and I want to look at this very closely. Now I try to investigate what is power. Then I find that in Greek, because I even went to look at not only in English, but also in Greek. What is in the Greek language? And I find that this power in Greek is referred to dunamis. Dunamis. It's called dunamis. Because I wanted to understand, I wanted to understand whether this power, is it the same power that we understand, or it is another power? Is it of a special kind? What is it? This ability. But this ability comes from the Creator himself. Science defines power, in fact, as the function of working time. The scientist will say to us, it is dependent, the power that you have is dependent on the type or on the quality of work and the amount of time that you spend. That will determine the power that you can have. The actual formula of power is power equals to work divided by time. Scientists will measure power scientifically, but the power that I'm talking about is unmeasurable. It's too complex and it's not so easy to measure. It's very comprehensive power. But it is a power that is given not by how much we work and how much time we spend, but it is by grace. It is by how much we want it and how much we are prepared to receive it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am sharing with you this information because it is my desire and wish that as business people, we should have the ability to get wealth. It should not only be for others to be prosperous, but it must be for us too. Why is it that we see a lot of good things happening with other business people, and then we find it difficult in our own businesses? Why is it that other people seem to be favored? They attract more opportunities than others. What is it that they have that we don't have? You look at someone become prosperous, but you look at him and say, but how? Why? It's because he attracts favor. She attracts favor. She's got a certain power. And this power comes from the one who created all of us. I thank you.